What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my review of Preacher, Season 2, Episode 5, titled Dallas. Okay, so every show, no matter how exciting it is, needs slower moments, slower episodes, just to kind of give you a break on the pacing of having everything fast-paced, as well as give you time with the characters, moments for them to grow, for their arcs to progress, and things like that. So I try not to beat up on shows too much when they throw in, a slower episode here and there. Now, even though this one was a little bit too slow, I feel, it should have been flashing back and forth to Jesse and the husband, whooping the husband's ass or whatever, to the flashbacks with Jesse and Tulip. Instead, they spent far too much time in the flashbacks in a row. You know what I mean? I have no problem with them spending a good amount of time, but they didn't pace it good, and they should have mixed it in, flashing between him whooping the husband's ass. That way we would have gotten a little bit more excitement, a little bit more action, and he could have been dropping little tidbits on every flash on how the reasons why Tulip married him, blah, blah, blah. And I think it would have been a little bit more effective that way. And I think we should have had a little bit of interaction about Jesse killing Pat, which was like his right-hand man. That's the dude that he killed the awesome way, listening to Uptown Girl or whatever in the torture room. And that would have been nice. So, all right. But that being said, I really enjoyed the episode. We learned quite a bit more about Jesse and Tulip and their relationship and why things went south and how they went south. And I think it's kind of funny to think of Jesse as just like this drunk stoner bartender one day, and then he wakes up one day and goes, I think I'm going to become a preacher. And, and then people are, respecting his knowledge and his word and his wisdom and all this other stuff. But just like a week ago, he was, some stoned out, not that I have a problem with that. Hey, to each his own, right? But, it's a drastic change in the way a preacher lives their life, or supposed to live their life, and a way that Jesse was living his life. That's crazy. And it's even crazier to think that him and Tulip were, committing serious crimes, robberies, whatever, before that. And now they're in a place where she's selling real estate and he's, bartending. Hey, he's up to 2 nights a week. I just thought that all of that was great to see. Both of them were not comfortable living their lives the way that they were. Jesse wanted a family to live a normal life, but the way that everything was happening, I'm not sure if Jesse was depressed, because he was obviously depressed, because they lost a baby and he, couldn't move past that, and they couldn't get pregnant again, or so he thought, or if it was living that mundane life. So what I think is Jesse was depressed because he couldn't have the family that he wanted and desperately wanted with Tulip. And that's where, you see it starts to get into this mundane routine of the same shit every day, to no avail, right? You're not getting what you want out of it, and you're basically living a life you don't want to get something you can't achieve. That's where I saw Jesse's storyline was, He was living the life the way he was, quitting the criminal life and all that, because he wanted a family, and he wanted to, have that with Tulip. And then after trying and trying and trying and trying, it just seemed like it was never going to happen. And that put him in this state of depression. Whereas Tulip dealt with her depression in another way. She worked at the real estate place for 3 weeks, and obviously then went back to work for Danny. And that's how she dealt with her depression. She was obviously depressed and saddened by it for, that 3 weeks, if she was even telling the truth. And then went back, to Danny and dealt with her depression by just basically quitting. And it was wrong the way she did it to Jesse, man. She should have just told him and all that. That's messed up. So I think Tulip's plan was to go through the motions, and hope that Jesse just gets tired of it and wants to go back to, oh, well, we can't get pregnant, so let's just go back to a life of crime, is what I think Tulip wanted. Whereas Jesse wanted the family and all of that. I liked it. Did I think they needed to spend a whole half an hour, like, kind of straight on that? No. I don't. They could have definitely used, half that time and, like I said, broke it up more. I like the stuff with Jesse and the husband. You get to see really when Jesse is unhinged, he's a scary guy. Even without using the word of God, Jesse's a scary guy when he's unhinged. And it makes it even scarier to know that this guy has the power to make anybody do whatever they want at any time. And that's like without limits. Like, I mean, he could send someone to hell. So it makes it really scary to see that this is the guy that has this power. He's obviously not the most responsible of people. And he obviously can't control his emotions. His depression took over. His anger took over. You see that he's a person of emotion. He's someone who really, and many of us, me included, can relate to that. He's someone who has a hard time controlling, his basic human emotions. And those of us who have that problem know what a struggle it is to try and maintain that and keep that monster in its cage, no matter what that monster is, whether it be tears or fists, And like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself. It just makes it such a scary thing that this is the guy that has that power. Now, we get to see that Tulip is straight gangster at heart. Just Tulip is a G. She says to Jesse, I'm an O'Hare. What do you expect? Now, you guys don't know what that means yet. You will. I don't want to spoil it too much. I think I want to do a Tulip explained video. That way it'll be like spoiler warning and you guys will watch it if you want. Don't watch it if you don't. But let's just say that her family was not the best people. Okay? They weren't just criminals. They were criminals who enjoyed it. It was in their blood. It's what they did. That's where I'm going to leave it. But that's what she means when she says, Jesse, I'm an O'Hare. It just means that it's in her DNA to be this. To wield a gun. To take things. That's just who she is. And living that sort of life without the money, without the excitement, the adrenaline rush, because it's not just the money. It's the crime that feeds her too, the adrenaline, the rush. And we kind of got to see that a lot in season 1 by her actions. They didn't spell it out. But now knowing this about her, you can kind of go back at season 1 and say that you understand a little bit more on why she is the way she is. And that's why she married Victor, because he was a criminal. He could not only give her the life she wanted with money and stuff, but there was crime, there was weapons, there was guns, there was excitement. And that's what she wanted, whether she loved Victor or not. And that's what Victor tells Jesse. And Jesse looks at it like, damn, like, I wanted this, she wanted something else. I wanted to make her happy, and all I had to do to make her happy and maybe give me a family was to live that life that she wanted. And I think it makes Jesse look back, like in retrospect, like, did I make the right choice or not? Should I have went back to a life of crime and then tried to do what Victor did and still have a family, even though, your money's dirty and you're living that life? So I really like that, man. A lot of people, I don't think, from talking to people since the episode last night, it seems like a lot of people aren't really getting the point of it or really liking the way it was handled. And that's why I say if they would have handled it a little bit different, where they paced the episode a little bit better, which we all know Preacher has a pacing problem. It's one of the main problems with this show. So by not having the episode paced right, I think it lost a lot of people, and it felt like a wasted episode to some or a boring episode to others. I enjoyed it. I like the info dump, but I do agree it could have been handled differently. I like that we see Jesse's crazy and unhinged. I like that. I like that it makes the protagonist, the main character of this series, Jesse Custer, a scary individual. It reminds me of like a Tony Soprano or Walter White, where your main character is basically a good person in their ideals, and why they do bad things are usually for the right reasons, but they're scary. They're becoming scary people, or they are scary people, to where it's like, I don't know if I should be rooting for this person or afraid of them. And that always makes for a dynamic series. Hopefully Preacher handles that and continues to handle that well. Because all three of our main characters are not necessarily the type of people you may want in your circle. I personally wouldn't mind hanging out with any of them. But I know some people might not want to hang out with somebody like Tulip or somebody like Cassidy, vampire or not, right? So I have no problems with that, and that's why I think I love the three of them so much. They remind me of people that I would like to spend time with. You know, if Preacher was a daily show just about these three characters' lives in any situation, I would probably like it just as much. So that's why the slower episodes aren't really bothering me as much, especially not this season, because I'm just loving it so much. Now, Cassidy, you know, he's great. He's my favorite character because he's what adds fun to the episodes. Jesse can be a very serious, brooding character. Without Cassidy to bounce off of, Jesse's not as good of a character. Just like without Tulip to bounce off, Jesse's not as good of a character. And the same can be said for Tulip and Cassidy too, because, you know, if it was just about them, where there was no interaction, I don't know, those characters might get a little bit tedious to watch. All three of them, but together, they're such a joy. And even bouncing around from each one, even if they're not interacting together, is such a joy. So I loved all the stuff with Cassidy. He always has the great lines. I love his accent. He's just a cool character, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorite characters on TV in general. He's probably going to make my list of the top 10, top 20 best characters to ever grace TV. 100%. Definitely make the top 20. He'll probably even make the top 10. So I like this episode, even if a lot of you may have found it a little bit slow. Don't worry, I'm sure things will pick up again. Oh, and we get to see the killers back at the end, hot on Jesse's trail, and it looks like the daughter is going to be helping him in the next episode, but more on that on the predictions video. So definitely look out on the channel for more Preacher material. I got two Saints of Killers Explained videos. You can go check those out. Plus, I did other reviews, other predictions. I'm going to try and do a little bit more topical stuff on Preacher too, since I'm enjoying it so much. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying my videos. Yep, so any comments, anything you'd like to say regarding Preacher Season 2, Episode 5, or just Season 2, or anything Preacher related, hit me up down in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Definitely helps out the channel as well as my own self-confidence. And thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.